David Frost with some comments reiterating that he has absolutely no intention of backing down in the Brexit negotiations. But what he said and the way that he said it, I think could tell us quite a bit about what is going on inside of the British government and what could happen moving forward in terms of these Brexit negotiations, of course, as the end of the transition period fast approaches. Guys, as ever, please start off by hitting the subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss future reports as I run through all of this in this video. And just to flag again, there are around 3,000 people who have subscribed and clicked all notifications for this channel. Thanks a lot for that. 3,000 who haven't turned on notifications either in the YouTube app or on your phones. So that's why you're not receiving notifications, just to flag that up for you. Now let's get into this. Lord Frost on Twitter saying, arriving once again in Brussels shortly for another round of negotiations with the EU and Michel Barnier. Now, of course, the end of the transition period fast approaching. Boris Johnson previously saying, setting out on the 15th of October, that was the deadline, otherwise the UK would move on. That hasn't happened. Negotiations ongoing. Lord Frost saying though, and I think this is really interesting, I and our British team have been in talks almost every day since the 22nd of October. We are working, he said, to get a deal, but the only one that's possible, he said, is one that is compatible with our sovereignty and takes back control of our laws, our trade and our waters. That has been our consistent position from the start, and I will not be changing it. I'll just repeat that because I think this is crucial. That has been our consistent position from the start, and I will not be changing it. Not we won't be changing it, I will not be changing it. Let's get back to that in a bit, but let's read the rest of what Lord Frost had to say. There has been some progress, he said, in a positive direction in recent days. We also now largely have common draft treaty texts, though some significant elements are, of course, not yet agreed. We will work to build on these, he says, and get an overall agreement if we can. But we may not succeed. Either way, as the Prime Minister Boris Johnson made clear on the 16th of October, people and businesses must prepare for the change that is coming on the 31st of December, most of which happens whether there is a deal or not. As the Times followed up on this, Lord Frost's message basically saying that Brexit red lines still in place as the Brexit talks continue. And of course, after the departure of key Brexiteers, Dominic Cummings and Lee Kane, leaving that Downing Street operation, the Times report that his comments follow the speculation that the departure of Dominic Cummings result in a change in the British stance. Sources have said that Lord Frost's remarks were also aimed at those in government determined to avoid a no-deal outcome. This suggests that Lord Frost may leave if he is pushed to sign a deal he does not agree with. That I think we can take away from his statement. The Times report that Lord Frost is understood to have met Boris Johnson to demand assurances that the shake-up of the Prime Minister's team would not result in a change of strategy. The PM is understood to have agreed and pledged to back his chief negotiator. But Lord Frost, who has been absolutely steadfast all the way through these negotiations, has clearly been asking questions as to what the hell is going on with the departure of Brexiteers. And as Sam Coates notes of the Sky News, look carefully at the wording of what Lord Frost is saying. I, David Frost, will not be changing my mandate. Sam Coates saying that he understands this is deliberate. There are some in government who want to push Boris to accept a deal. Some see a push to soften the UK position. And remember, it is said that Lord Frost, David Frost, did consider resigning with the departures of the likes of Lee Kane and Dominic Cummings. Ben Habib responding to what Lord Frost has been saying, of course, Ben Habib, my former Brexit Party MEP colleague, saying this to David Frost. Why are you still negotiating if the significant elements have yet to be agreed? Boris Johnson and you were clear on the 15th of October that there would be no negotiations with the EU until the EU relented in its position on state aid and fishing. So what are you negotiating? And it should be noted that time and time again, statement after statement, we've seen, it's still the level playing field, it's still fisheries. So why hasn't the UK walked away? Now, there's been some support for David Frost, Lord Frost's statement from senior Conservative MPs. Former Conservative leader Ian Duncan Smith, quoted by the Daily Express, as saying, Lord Frost needs to stand firm this week. He is absolutely right to say that we are a sovereign nation and cannot accept anything that leaves us being constrained by the EU. At the moment, Brussels wants to continue treating us like a member of the EU. All we are asking is for the same trade relationship that Canada, South Korea and other countries have with the EU. If it wants a deal, the EU has to stop pretending that it can control the UK. Andrew Jenkins, Deputy Chairman of the European Research Group Conservative MPs, saying Lord Frost's comments demonstrate that we are in good hands with our negotiators and our government is serious about taking back control and delivering on our promises to the British people. We will not bow down to unreasonable EU demands and we are prepared to walk away, deal or no deal. But I do find that statement from Lord Frost interesting, referring to his position not changing. And as I said, he's been steadfast all the way through this. But what are the EU to make at this crucial moment in the negotiations of key Brexiteers of the so-called vote leave contingent leaving Downing Street? I asked supporters of the channel, and guys, please do support Real News by hitting the join button down below and become a supporter. I'm going to be doing lots of supporter readouts. I asked my supporters, what do you think? What do you make of Lord Frost? Do you have faith in him in these negotiations, Lord Frost? These were some of the responses. Anthony, big no, waste of time. But it must be said that a lot of the responses were a lot more positive. Ian saying, given his stance thus far, yes. Whether his stance is backed at the point a decision is required on deal or no deal by the PM, huge doubts. Boris may yet be Heath too. Chris saying, and thanks a lot for your support as well, Chris, saying, Frost I trust. Doris no, because of his erratic behaviour and his wokeness. Louise, thanks for your support again, Louise. I believe Lord Frost is sincere, but that he will be told what to do when Boris caves. It's not David's decision, it's Boris's. And finally, John, and thanks a lot for your support as well, John. I trust him more than any politician, and so far his behaviour seems to have been exemplary. The problem is that ultimately the decision is up to politicians. I still cannot believe that Boris would betray us and thus destroy his reputation and the future of his party, and hence remain hopeful about the final outcome. But I would be much more hopeful if the decision were up to Frost. It should be said all the way through, especially when you compare it to the shambles under Theresa May, that Lord Frost, David Frost, has played a blinder. He stood his ground and he's been steadfast. But could we be seeing the start of him having to make clear that while he may not change his position, others may try? Could we see Boris Johnson and the British government change position and force Lord Frost's hand? Of course we hope not, but I keep going back to it. Why did Boris Johnson say that we were going to walk away on the 15th of October and now we look at negotiations potentially going on into December? As ever guys, you can rely on the Westminster channel right here on YouTube. Keep bringing you all the very latest on this, but do please support the channel by hitting that thumbs up button. Click join to become a supporter. We're going to be doing lots more supporter readouts. But for now guys, let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, thanks so much for watching.